I've spent so much time in this world, and I still really haven't built anything at all in the Nether. This place is just completely empty. I only ever use it for travel. And I've been putting off building a gold farm, so today I'm finally going to do it. But while I do that, I've got a bunch of Reddit stories that I want to read. Thanks as always for coming back to the channel. Let's read the first story. Alright, this story is titled, Am I the asshole for not consoling my boyfriend because I make more money? I need a gut check if I'm the asshole or not. I make a good deal of money, which I know people will say I'm the asshole already. But I live a very modest lifestyle. My monthly budget is $4K a month, and most months I profit $30K. I'm self-employed, so sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Next month, minor flex, because I'm anonymous and I can, it'll be around $80K pre-tax. I have a boyfriend, and we've been dating for 5 months. He's a good guy, but a bit more traditional than I've ever dated before. He works as the assistant manager in a farming shop and gets paid about $15 an hour. We're both in our mid-30s and live in the middle of nowhere. I only moved here to be close to my niece and nephew. No, he does not know what I make. We've only been dating for a few months, and I'm private about how much I'm squirreling away. I drive an older car, and bought a standard 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house last year and almost have it paid off. The issue is that he saw one of my invoices to a vendor pop up in my notifications. The bill was around $5,000. He was shocked that I was paying that much. I told him that it was the cost of doing business, and he was like, must be nice to drop twice what a normal person makes in a month on business. I'm usually water off a duck's back when it comes to conflict. No big deal. So I told him that it would be nice if I didn't have to pay the bill at all. He dropped it, but I was getting a vibe from him for the last few days. He seemed distant. I went over to his place and asked him what was wrong, and I guess seeing me pay someone $5,000 set him in a complete spiral. He's trying to figure out how he can, quote, be a man when I'm off paying other men more than he makes. I didn't like the implications of that, like I'm a hooker or something, and asked him if he freaks out on farmers who drop thousands on equipment. He said that was different, and then asked me how much money I make. He hasn't asked before, which is a little on me because I always give the impression that what I make isn't that impressive. I had a bad feeling, so I lied and told him $120,000. Which, according to the IRS, is officially my salary. If you know what S-Corps are, then you know what I mean. Anyway, he burst into tears. I think if I was nicer, I should have consoled him or something. I know he's feeling like a loser, which he's not. He has a cool job in my opinion, and he's super knowledgeable about farm stuff, which I find interesting. He's a pillar in the community because we're surrounded by ranches and he knows everyone. And again, I find it really cool. But he was upset that I see more money on the regular than he sees in a year. I may have dropped the ball a bit here because I told him that he's going to have to find a way to be okay with not being the provider. And then I just got out of his house. I just couldn't figure out a way to make him feel better without lying more or making myself small. I guess I could have told him that working in a farm store is super fucking manly or something. It's easy to think of these things afterward. My guess is that it's some early or midlife crisis, but I resent that it's coming at my expense. That because I'm doing well, he feels bad. If I found out he secretly had a lot of family money, I'd be really happy and glad for him. But no, learning that I could cover a $5,000 bill for my own business made him feel like less of a man to the point where he had to throw shade on me. That's a him problem, and I'm still kind of pissed about that. I don't know though. I'm also coming from a place of super privilege because it's been a few years since I've had to think about bills, and I don't care what people say. That changes you. So am I the asshole, and what do I do? I've got a lot of thoughts on this, and most of them are that this guy should not be that butthurt that his girlfriend makes a ton of money. But before I talk about that, there's an update that was posted a month after that initial post. So let me go ahead and read that really quick. Update 1 month later. Not a huge surprise to anyone, but we talked it out, and a big reason he reacted badly is because he's in a bad spot. We live in a really rural area, and $15 an hour from a farm store is basically the top pay without a major change of life on his part. Moving away, somehow changing jobs when there are no real jobs, winning the lottery, etc. The stress got to him, and he just didn't react well. He apologized, and our relationship limped along for a few more weeks. But he started making little digs at my career, saying stuff like how he can't believe I make so much more money for silly projects. That it's wild I make more money than a doctor when I'm not even saving lives. Things like that. Typing them out right now, they sound more like mild nitpicks. And I certainly have a love-hate relationship with my art when I'm in the weeds on it. But I didn't like the vibe that was coming from him. It felt resentful. Instead of being happy that he had a girlfriend that was doing well, it felt like he saw it as a failure on himself. I broke it off and he didn't even seem that upset, so I guess it was a good call. Though suspiciously one of the local churches has contacted me for money for their local charity. They seem to know that I'm a high earner, even though I've kept everything private. So I think he's been telling people tales. It's a small town, so that's fun. Anyway, thanks for the advice on the last post, and for fuck's sake, I don't do OnlyFans. This guy absolutely fumbled the bag. She's clearing like $300,000 a year. Brother, what are you doing? He needs to get over his ego right now and become a Hall of Fame boyfriend. Well, I guess not anymore. She did dump him. If my girlfriend was making that kind of money, catch her never having to do another chore. Oh, the dishes need to be done? I already did them. Laundry? Folded. Done. Neat. I'd crush it as a trophy husband. I guess I just don't really relate to this guy. I don't think this is something that would really bother me. I mean, it sucks that this guy's in a rough financial spot, but that doesn't mean that he should take out his insecurities on his partner or belittle her career. I don't think this guy is seeing that if your partner is super successful, that's a good reflection on you. That means you're doing something right. And this guy just has to get over himself and be proud of her. Also, it's just not her job to make him feel better about how much money she makes. Yeah, she could apologize for being harsh in the way that she said that, but it doesn't change that he should just be accepting of her income. I think the only nitpick that I have is this poster misrepresenting how much she makes to her boyfriend. But I mean, it's early in their relationship, and she shouldn't have to talk about it if she doesn't want to. And also, I don't really think that's the problem here. He should just be supportive no matter how much she tells him that she's making. And not making snide remarks about how easy her job is. That's just never a good look. Anyways, no, this poster's not the asshole. I am super curious to know what she does for a living, though, where she's making 80 grand in a month. I would be just so annoying if I made that much money. Am I the asshole for refusing to eat my wife's spaghetti after I found out what she put in it? Last night, my wife made spaghetti, and it smelled amazing. She said that she tried something new and wanted me to just eat it before I asked any questions. I had a few bites, and it tasted kind of off, but not terrible. Just weirdly sweet and earthy. I asked what she changed about the recipe, and she told me that she had blended up leftover spaghetti from 6 days ago and mixed it into the sauce to thicken it. I immediately stopped eating. I know this is technically the same ingredients, but the idea of blended old noodles mixed into fresh sauce made me feel sick. She got offended and said that I already ate half a plate, so clearly it was fine and I was just being dramatic now that I knew. I told her that this was exactly my point. I did not know. If I had known beforehand, I would not have eaten it. She said I was being wasteful and disrespectful and acting like she had served me garbage. I ended up making a sandwich because I could not finish it, and she got really upset at me and was barely talking to me for the rest of the night. Now she told her family, and they think I embarrassed her. But my mom thinks it's gross, and I should not have been tricked into eating it. I feel bad for hurting her feelings, but I also feel like I should get a say in what I'm eating. Am I the asshole? I'm not gonna lie, I had to Google how long pasta lasts in the fridge because of this Reddit post. I've definitely eaten some very suspect pasta in my day. I've pushed those limits for sure. But apparently, according to the comments on this Reddit post, pasta is literally poison after 5 days. All of these commenters are saying how this girlfriend was deliberately poisoning this guy. And I'd be willing to bet any amount of money that this blended up old pasta recipe came from a TikTok video. I don't know why it has that vibe, it just does. Anyways, no, I don't think this poster's wrong for not finishing his plate. If you find out halfway through eating your plate of pasta that one of the ingredients in the sauce was probably mold, hot take, but I don't think you're obligated to keep eating. It's definitely not the nastiest recipe that it could have possibly been, but if there's week old pasta in the fridge, I don't really want any part of that, and so I'd want to know if you're putting it in the sauce. It's gross, I don't want to think about it anymore, let's just move on to another story. I fell in love with my married neighbor, and then I babysat his kids. Now I'm questioning my feelings. Okay, so first of all, I'm new to Reddit. Sorry if there are any mistakes or something. I obviously can't talk about this with any of my friends or my mom, but then I saw a Reddit post on TikTok, and I thought this would be a good place to talk about this. Finally, I know you all are going to judge me, but at least try to understand my side. Thanks. So I'm a 34-year-old woman, and 7 months ago, I had a messy breakup with a long-term boyfriend. So I moved in with my best friend and her husband in a house that we're all renting together. It was then that I met my neighbor, who I'll call Kevin. Kevin helped us move our stuff into our new house, and I was instantly smitten. We live in the suburbs of a major city, so we both ended up taking the train into work at the same time each day. I knew Kevin had a wife and kids very early on. He talked about them often and had pictures of them on his lock screen, social media, etc. However, initially it started out as a very innocent, silly crush. He is handsome and funny and sweet, and the first time that we rode the train, he asked me about my job and seemed genuinely interested in what I was saying. which is something that my ex never did and is something that we fought over a lot. Kevin is always doing things for his kids, like bringing home treats and stuff for them and staying on the phone with his older daughter the entire ride to work because she needed a pep talk before her school presentation. It was just so easy to imagine how lovely and attentive Kevin would be with me because he's like that with everyone else. Kevin has never said or done anything to imply that he has feelings for me yet, but we are genuinely friends now because we talk on the train almost every weekday. I've never had the trouble of getting the attention of men, and with the basis that we have already, I know we could easily become something more. I also learned shortly after I developed feelings for him that his wife is actually someone that I went to school with, and I was surprised because they're polar opposites. He's funny, she's dry, he's exciting, she's cautious, he's a little dumb, and she's smart and intellectual. Looks-wise, this feels mean, but yikes. I just don't think that their personalities fit very well together at all, and I can easily see Kevin getting stuck in a relationship because he's just so nice. The issue is that yesterday evening, Kevin knocked on my door and asked if I could watch his kids for a bit. This was, of course, no trouble at all, and I said yes right away. He told me that his wife had gotten into a car accident while away on a business trip, and because she's pregnant, he was super worried and had booked the next flight out to go see her. They don't have any family in the state currently, so he asked me to keep an eye on his kids for a few hours while a family friend drove several hours to watch them that night. Now this is where the issue comes in. These kids were an absolute nightmare. There were 3 girls, and the oldest was your typical bratty preteen times 1,000. She was rude and didn't respect my authority at all, arguing with me about everything from dinner to who had to clean up and to what movies she was allowed to watch. I even heard her call me a bitch under her breath a couple times. The middle kid was rowdy and constantly wanted to play loud, messy games even when I told her no. The youngest was mostly sweet and quiet on her own, but she joined in with whatever drama the middle child wanted to create. It culminated in me agreeing to play hide and seek with the younger 2 and ended up getting locked out of the house. When I went back and tried to convince the oldest to let me in through the back screen door, she pretended that she couldn't hear me and put her headphones in. Thankfully, the family friend arrived a few minutes later and let me in, and then I went home. This makes me sad because before now, I would often dream about being a stepmom to Kevin's kids one day because of how highly he would talk about them. Now I want nothing to do with them. But at the same time, this is further proof that Kevin and his wife are not happy because children from a happy home do not behave like this. I just want to have a relationship with Kevin, but I don't know if it's possible because his kids and I wouldn't get along. And this is even before a potential divorce where their mother could easily get them to hate me. I really love Kevin, and I know that we could have a beautiful relationship if I pursued this, but this has really shaken me. I just wish I had someone to talk to about this, but everyone in my life would judge me. This has to be the most insane Reddit story I've ever read, or close to it. This woman gets on the train every day with this guy and just daydreams about wrecking his home. I love how she's so delusional that she's gotten to the point in her head where she's like, yeah, no, we'll be good together, but man, it's just his kids. It's those darn kids. That's really the thing that's preventing us from being together. This woman is a stalker, but doesn't seem to have the awareness that she is actually a stalker. It's also just so funny that she doesn't seem to know that the kids tricked her into leaving the house and then locked her out. Like, on top of being a stalker, she's also an incredibly incompetent babysitter. She just doesn't have any redeeming qualities whatsoever. On the initial post, people were giving her a dose of reality, and so she got kind of combative in the comments. Let me read this really quick. This commenter wrote, "Honestly, it doesn't sound like you love him. You romanticize him, and you have this fantasy of life with him in your head. In your head, you act like he would drop his wife and run away with you. You justify this belief by saying that his children are wild, so it must be an unhappy home. Meanwhile, you completely ignore the fact that his wife is pregnant and he dropped everything to go to her. You say the kids don't respect your authority. It sounds like they barely know you, and suddenly you're in charge. You're not their mother, and you never will be their mother. You think you will have a beautiful relationship with Kevin if you pursued him. No, you wouldn't. He has a family that he clearly loves. Just because he's nice to you doesn't mean that he wants you. I encourage you to discuss things with a professional because this is not healthy." The poster responded to that comment by saying, "How do you know whether or not I love him? Are you inside my head? You can love someone before you're in a relationship with them. And just like I don't know for sure if he loves me, you don't know that he doesn't. You will never know until you cross that bridge. I know he wouldn't drop everything and run away with me. There would be months and even years of divorce court, custody arrangements, etc. if he decided to leave his wife." And before the comments come in, yes, I know there's no guarantee that he'll do that. I hate this poster so much. But Kevin is a good, honest man. If anything were to happen between us, he would absolutely leave his wife because it wouldn't be fair to either of us, and he told me he believes very strongly in fairness. That's why I'm asking. I know this could be a messy situation if anything happened. I just want to know if his kids being difficult will make things worse if it does happen. I want to know if the potential pros outweigh the potential cons. It's either the greatest bait of all time, or this woman genuinely believes that she is in the right. Like, she doesn't seem to think that there's anything wrong with actively trying to break up this guy's marriage. She just sees his pregnant wife as an obstacle to overcome. There is a happy ending to the story, though, because a couple days after this initial post, apparently there is an update with a screenshot of a text conversation between the poster and Kevin. Unfortunately, the original post was taken down, and I can't find the screenshot anywhere, but we do have a transcript of the messages that were sent between them, so let me go ahead and read those really quick. Kevin: "And the girls are okay. Thank you so much for watching the girls." The poster writes back, "Of course, anytime, smiley face. Let me know if there's anything else I can do." Kevin sends a thumbs up emoji back. Then, after some time, Kevin sends a Reddit link to the post that this woman made and says, "Is this you?" Kevin continues, "Because if it is, we need to talk. I promise you that I have absolutely no interest in leaving my family for you. I'm sorry if I ever gave you the wrong idea, but I don't see you as anything more than a neighbor. I don't think we should be friends anymore." Then the poster writes back, "Wait, can I call you?" I think this guy finding this woman's Reddit post is the best possible ending that this could have had, because now he knows that he should never bring himself or his family around her ever again. This post low-key terrified me because it really just shows that you never know what people are thinking. The nice lady that you ride the subway with every day really could just be plotting to destroy your entire family, and you'd never know. Actually, I guess the only way that you would find out is if they asked Reddit for advice on how to do it. Anyways, let's move on to another post. I just saw this one and had to read it. It was just too insane not to. I should mention that I am absolutely not designing this gold farm myself. I am following a tutorial for this. I'll put the name of the channel on screen and I'll link their video in the description. They made an awesome tutorial and it's super easy to follow. I don't actually know if I collected enough magma blocks for this. I guess I'm just going to keep making layers until I run out and then call it good. Am I the asshole for suing my parents for my college money? My great aunt set up a savings account for all of her female relatives. In our culture, education for women is not really valued, and she thought that was bullshit. She lived with her father in London where she was educated. She went on to attend university and became a doctor. She married a British man, they moved to America, and had a great life. When she passed away, she left money for every girl relative that she possibly could. My parents managed to access the accounts that were set up for my sister and I. They used the money to pay for my brother's wedding. My sister didn't care because she got married 2 years out of high school and had no intention of going to college. When I graduated from high school, I went to the bank to get the money that had been left for me for my college, and it was almost all gone. There was only like $13,000 left. I asked my parents about it, and they said that they needed the money. When I finally found out where the money actually went, I got furious. I got student loans and moved out. I'm a great source of shame to my parents, and I don't give two fucks. I'm currently suing them for the money that was left for me. My entire family is against me. They all think I'm a complete asshole for airing private family business in public, and that I'm putting money ahead of family. My friends are all on my side, but they're all Americans and don't really understand my culture. Neither do I, to be honest. My brother called me up and offered to pay for my university if I dropped the lawsuit. I agreed as long as we had a legally binding contract. He said that I was being an asshole for not trusting him. I said that he shouldn't have accepted my money for his wedding. This is causing all kinds of embarrassment for our community. I am somewhat ashamed for doing this, but I don't have this debt that I shouldn't have. I don't know much about estate law, or like any law whatsoever, but I don't think you need to be a lawyer to know that what this poster's parents are doing, or did, is completely shitty. I think for me, the best case scenario would be settling this outside of court. But, I mean, if you're watching your parents use your money that was put aside for your future and your education on basically just a big party, then yeah, sue them. Which I think is a lot easier to say than to do, so I guess I applaud this poster for actually having the balls to do it. I think this poster's relationship with her family will forever be ruined, but it sounds like she knows that and is fine with the consequences. What I would like to know that wasn't included was whether or not her brother actually knew that her money was being used to pay for his wedding. My guess is that since he's offering to pay, he feels bad. I think he probably knew, but who knows, maybe he didn't. Maybe her parents just used her money without telling him. there's actually an update to this story that was posted last year. The initial story was posted 3 years ago, so 2 years later this poster came back and gave an update to the situation. Update on suing my parents for my college money. It's over. I got my money. I also pretty much have been disowned by my family, but I consider that a win as well. My parents ended up having to mortgage some property to pay me back for what they stole. My family is embarrassed that I forced them to this point after they had offered to pay me back in installments. Nobody's willing to answer me when I ask what would make my parents pay me back if I was stupid enough to trust them. I've been told by them that I will never find a husband in our culture with my belligerent attitude and strident independence. I laughed. I do not want anything to do with our culture except perhaps enjoy the food. I'm enjoying the independence that I've achieved, and I'm more than happy to know that several other of the young women in my family have taken steps to lock down the education funds that have been left for them. For those of you that think it's sexist that my great aunt only cared about educating women, please die angry. I really do think it's a shame that her family has been left in financial shambles, but they brought it on themselves when they literally stole from her. You're really going to take money that's rightfully your daughter's and use it to pay for your son's wedding? Come on. Like, this situation actually occurred 3 years ago, and then 2 years later, finally, this girl has her money. I'm sure that was 2 years of her being in school while also having to focus on litigating her parents. That's awful. That just does not help with your college experience. That's so much stress to put on a 19 or 20-year-old. And I think she was also right to not trust them when they said that they were going to pay her back outside of the court system. There's just no reason to trust people that have already stolen your money. Just rereading it again, I love how her family used strident independence as an insult, like as if that was going to be insulting to her. That's just such a compliment. I don't think I could ever do what this poster is doing. I don't think I'm brave enough to sue my immediate family members. Well, I don't know about that. I guess if they cross me, they'll find out real quick. Alright, the gold farm is officially done enough. I just AFK'd for like 15 minutes and here's how much gold we got. I think we're good for life. I think I'm going to save making the farm look pretty for another time, but I do kind of like the vibe that it's given off right now. It looks kind of menacing. For the rest of this video, I think I want to do some cave renovation. I'm trying to get rid of all this gray and cover the floor in grass, make it look a little more natural. If I've got the time and feel like building, I've also got kind of an idea for an entryway to this wheat farm from the last video. I don't know, if I get bored of placing dirt, I'll do that instead, I guess. Am I the asshole for agreeing to split the bill on a double date which ended in my best friend getting dumped? I'm a 22-year-old female and I'm really unsure here. My best friend and roommate, who's also 22 and female, let's call her Amy, has been seeing a guy for 2 months. She really likes him and it seemed to be going super well. Last night, she asked if I would go along with her and her boyfriend on a blind double date, meaning her and the guy she's dating and me and one of his friends who's single and looking. I wasn't keen on it at first, but she insisted, so I agreed. We got to the restaurant, just a nice place in our area, and things seemed to be going fine. The friend that she was setting me up with was cool, but I'm really not looking right now and didn't feel any kind of spark. We got to the end of dinner and the bill came. Amy chimed in and said, "Don't worry, our men have got this." To which I said back, no, I don't mind, saying that I would pay my part of the bill. We'd each had 2 cocktails each, all 4 of us, and it wasn't a crazy expensive place, but it's not cheap. A bit of back and forth happened. Amy kept insisting that it's always the gentlemen who pay. So I said something like, "You do you, I'm happy to split it." The guys were saying that they would cover both, but seemed uncomfortable. They paid, and then we all left. Amy and her boyfriend went back to his place. I said goodnight to his friend and went home alone. Later on, Amy texted me saying that her man is now contemplating the relationship because he doesn't want someone who always insists the men pay. She told me that I ruined it by offering to split and should have just sided with her and not made things worse. And now she's saying that he needs some time and might not want to continue this relationship with her. Am I the asshole for this? There's a few contextual updates that this poster came back and made. I'm just going to read these super quick. Update. Thanks everyone so much for your thoughts on this one. Amy still isn't talking to me. You could cut glass with the tension in our house right now. She and the guy aren't talking either. I'm trying hard here, but another week and maybe the friendship has run its course, honestly. Sensing a lot more underlying issues that can only come from communication. Here's the next update. I'm now not a girl's girl because I didn't back her without being told that I should or given any kind of heads up. I responded that, especially because I didn't see myself or my blind date having a second date, that if I wanted to pay for myself, I was happy to put up my portion. The friendship is now effectively over and I'm looking to move out. Amy is now trying to apologize because she can't afford rent on her own or get someone else to move in on such short notice. I feel horrible, but now I know that I need to be around supportive people. Thanks again to everyone. Yeah, this poster's obviously not in the wrong here. It's just kind of a super weird hill for her friend to die on. Like she said, if she wants to pay her portion of the bill, that's fine. Amy needs to not keep insisting that she not pay. She for sure just dug her own grave. And more than likely, if her boyfriend's breaking up with her after that, there were other issues that were going on. It's not this poster's fault that her and her boyfriend broke up. Also, Amy is just speaking for her boyfriend's friend and making him pay more. He might have been happy to hear that this poster was willing to split the bill. And now he's just got to pay more money. I would have been pissed if I was him. I am curious what you guys think about who should be paying for dates, though. I'm still pretty traditional. I like to pay. But I also have in the past appreciated when a girl offers to pay and then I can insist and be like, no, I got it. Because that feeds my fragile male ego and I need that. But like, especially on dating apps, I have heard some people say whoever asks the other person out should pay. I guess I'm mostly talking about the first couple dates here. Once you're in a relationship, it's very different. Things get split way more often. But this situation is also just kind of weird and unique just because it's a double date, and this is sort of tangential and off topic. But I just think double dates are something that I would prefer not to go on. I think my toxic brain makes it into a competition where we have to outdate the other couple. I don't know why I'm admitting this. This is insane. I'm way off topic here. I guess bringing it back to the story, it was kind of her to offer to pay her portion of the bill, and it's weird that her friend insisted on the other guy paying for her. Okay, this post was cracking me up when I first saw it. It's about a guy's interaction with somebody selling something to him over Facebook Marketplace. It's titled, "Am I overreacting for not wanting to buy after this interaction? Been eyeing this monitor for about 2 years now. I finally found one listed for $1,000. The listing literally says $1,000 or best offer. So I did exactly that and offered $925, not even 10% off the asking price of $1,000. The seller immediately got hostile, called me broke and said I couldn't afford nice things, accused me of lowballing when his own listing invites lower offers. I stayed calm the whole time, pointed out multiple times that best offer means that offers are welcome, and even apologized at the end just to keep things civil. Here's my dilemma though. I've genuinely wanted this monitor for about 2 years. It's a great price and it's hard to find used. Do I swallow my pride, go back and pay full asking price from the guy who just insulted me, or do I walk?" I'm going to put the screenshots from their conversation in the video. This conversation would genuinely make me so upset. But let me read it for the audio-only listeners. The poster says, "Would you do $925 for it?" Within a minute, the seller responded, "Not happening, nice try." The poster says back, "Not trying to lowball you at all. It says $1,000 or best offer." This guy says back to him, "You must think I'm stupid." Poster writes back, "So I figured I'd just shoot an offer. Sorry, not happening. It's $1,000 for a reason. It's already $1,000, literally half off. So yeah, lowball is definitely the word. If you can't afford it, don't try making an excuse to try and negotiate like you can at all. LOL." The poster writes back, "Again, it says $1,000 or best offer. So I shot an offer, that's all. You're doing all this and for what? Could have literally been like, no, lowest I'll take is $1,000. The seller writes back, "Don't care. If it's not $1,000, I'm not interested. It's already way too much off, but people are too broke to even consider buying it at all at that price. Because you people love to lowball. Don't make offers you can't afford." Poster writes back, "And that would have been okay. It literally says $1,000 or best offer. So obviously it sounds like you would take something lower than $1,000. Remove the best offer option if that's the case, Lamau." The seller says, "Okay, and nobody asked you. It's just super funny to interact with people that think they have any control over this. It really shows your intellect. How about no, because this is not yours. I'm sorry you're too poor for something nice." Oh my god. The poster just writes back, "You're right, bro. I apologize." After this got posted on Reddit, a bunch of people in the comments started messaging this seller and just lowballing the shit out of him, and overall just trolling him, which feels like justice. And I was cracking up reading some of those, so I'll throw those on the screen as well. Somebody messaged the seller and said, $450 and a firm handshake? And the guy said back, "How about you blow me?" There's just a bunch of these in here in this post. It's very funny. But no, this poster should absolutely not go back and buy this monitor from this guy on principle. Don't give him the satisfaction of selling this monitor. He's being a complete dick to people who are just messaging him honestly about the thing that he's selling. Why are you getting combative over Facebook Marketplace, dude? I think this post is just hitting home for me right now in particular because I've been on Facebook Marketplace a lot recently looking for furniture. Facebook Marketplace is great. I have nothing against that. I found a great deal on a couch. It's been amazing. But you do just sometimes run into these people that are a little bit stubborn on price or a little eccentric. I certainly haven't run into anybody this bad before, but it happens. I guess this is just the cost of hunting for a good deal online. Anyways, yeah, this seller just needs to learn what best offer means, and also stop calling potential buyers poor. That's genuinely so insane. Am I the asshole for asking my stepdaughter to move out? This is an ongoing issue in my home. I'm a 33-year-old female, and I'm currently pregnant with my first child. I live in a 2-bedroom home with my husband and stepdaughter. She's a 23-year-old female. My stepdaughter and I get along fine. No big issues, but we're also not super close. Now that the new baby is coming, we need more space. But unfortunately, my husband and I can't afford a new home. I brought up to my husband about asking my stepdaughter to move out. My reasoning is that we really need her room for the new baby, and she's an adult with a full-time job, so it's her time to move out on her own anyway. My husband agreed, and we brought it up to her at dinner one night. We told her that we would help her with the first 2 months of rent. I told her that it would be fun, and her and I could go shopping, and I would help her decorate her new apartment. We tried to be as gentle as we could, but she was very quiet. Privately, she told my husband that even though she has a full-time job, she can't afford to live on her own. My husband told her that she didn't need to move out, so now we're scrambling trying to find a place for the new baby. The other day I was home alone with stepdaughter and tried to talk to her about it again. I offered to help her find a roommate, and she snapped at me. She told me to just leave her alone and locked herself in her room. When my husband got home from work that day, he was mad at me and told me to leave her alone and to not bring it up anymore. Since then, things have just been awkward and uncomfortable, and it's making my pregnancy very stressful. My stepdaughter is 23 and old enough to be on her own, and she has her own job, and we're willing to help her. We need space for our baby. I don't see how I'm in the wrong here. Man, Reddit is arguing about this one. There are 7,000 comments on this post, and it is just people yelling at each other. Most people seem to think that this poster is in the wrong for trying to kick her stepdaughter out, but there are a lot of people defending her as well. I think I just tend to be on the daughter's side here. Like, if I were in her shoes, I would just feel like I'm getting punished for my dad having a new kid with another woman. And the baby can sleep in the parents' room for at least the first couple months, can't they? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know anything about babies. But it seems like with having the stepdaughter around, while it might be less space, it might be nice to have an extra set of hands to help out with the baby, and for the baby to have a big sister. I guess it just seems like with the way that this post was worded, that this situation was just brought up really suddenly and sprung on the daughter. And if she's saying that she's not in the financial position to be able to move out right now, then this stepmom should not be forcing the issue. However, I think where I differ from some of these comments on Reddit is that I don't think it's terribly unreasonable for the dad and the stepmom to at least ask their daughter to move out. I just think they went about this the wrong way. Like just saying, hey, you gotta get up out of our house. They're just uprooting her. It feels poorly planned. I think they could have said something like, hey, you can continue living here, but 6 months after the baby's born, we're gonna start charging you some rent. Because we just don't have the space anymore for you to continue living here rent-free. Maybe that's not the perfect solution, but at least you're not just dropping this bomb on her, and it doesn't feel like you're kicking her out. You're including her in a plan for her to eventually move out. Hopefully she'd want to move out. I guess in my mind, I'd be wanting to get out of there as quickly as possible once that baby woke me up a couple times in the middle of the night. I don't know, it's a tough question though. When is it ever the right time to tell your daughter to move out? That's tough. I am certainly not jealous of the position that this husband is in. I don't really have the idea for this room fully fleshed out, but I've been kind of wanting to build with gold just to keep it on theme for the video. And I was playing around in Creative before I was recording, and I found this combination of blocks that I really like. Or at least they look really good to me, stacking them like this, like in pillars. Well, this is as far as I got in the planning process. I really don't have anything else planned for this build. I'm just gonna be winging it. But oh man, for some reason, these specific blocks stacked in this way, it's doing something for me. It's scratching that itch on my brain. One of my best friends cheated on her boyfriend over the weekend. They're now engaged and he doesn't know. I'm a 24-year-old female, and I introduced one of my best friends, let's call her Kiana, she's 25 and female, to one of my good friends Mason 3 years ago. Mason's a 26-year-old male. They instantly hit it off and were an item in no time. To me, it always seemed like they had a good relationship. They started getting serious, they bought a condo together, and just adopted a dog from a local shelter last month. On Saturday, Kiana and I went out dancing with some of my colleagues from work. We were all pretty tipsy, and Kiana said that she had to go to the bathroom, so I went to the bar to get us some drinks. After about 10 minutes, my coworker asked, "Where's Kiana?" I scanned the bar to find her talking to this guy. Kiana is pretty flirtatious when she drinks, but as I was walking towards her, I saw her lean closer to this guy and start making out with him. I stood there in shock, but after regaining my composure, I made it over to her and said that we needed to talk. I asked her what she was doing, and she said, "It was nothing, just the heat of the moment. Please don't tell Mason." I was pretty pissed and told her that it was a shitty position to put me in. She said she had to go to the bathroom, then asked if we could go home right after. I went over to say bye to my other friends when I noticed her leaving the bathroom line and walking over to the same guy again. They were on the other side of the bar, so I started making my way over to them again, but they left the bar together. I began calling her phone and she ignored me, and just as I got outside, she was getting into a cab with this guy. I was seething. I tried calling her again and left her a couple texts and voicemails, asking her to call me as soon as she could so I would know that she was safe. That was my first priority, to make sure that she wasn't going home with some creep. Then I could talk to her about cheating on Mason. She finally got back to me around 5 a.m. on Sunday morning, texting me that she was safe and she needed to talk to me. I received that text when I woke up around 9 and told Kiana to come over to my apartment. About a half hour later, she was over at my place and asked if she could borrow a change of clothes, and she started crying. She said that she slept with that guy last night and instantly regretted it. Kiana said that she missed having other men attracted to her, so she gave in to the temptation. I told her that even though it was hard, she needed to tell Mason. She said that she would, and she thanked me for not judging her too harshly. I said what she did was wrong and it was unfair to make me choose sides, but Mason is also my friend and, most importantly, her boyfriend, so he deserves to know the truth. A few days passed without a word from Kiana. Yesterday evening, she texted me saying, "Mason proposed," and I said yes. I sat and stared at the text for a few minutes. Then she calls me, squealing with excitement, and gave me the details of the proposal. I then asked her if she told Mason what happened last weekend. She said that she didn't, and she couldn't now, or it would ruin their engagement. She then said that she was getting a call from her mom, so she hung up. I haven't heard from her since yesterday evening, but she's already posting the ring all over social media. I love Kiana to death, and we've been friends for over 10 years, but I can't help but be angry at her for not only cheating on Mason, who's literally the kindest, sweetest man, but for hiding it from him and then accepting a proposal. I get the sense that she's insecure, which is why she sought validation from some random dude at a bar instead of from her boyfriend, now fiancé. She put me in such an awkward position. A part of me says that I need to stay out of this and not ruin my friendship with her, as this is none of my business. But I can't get the image of her kissing that guy and leaving in a cab with him out of my head. And Mason deserves the truth too. I've also been cheated on before, so I know how it feels. I don't want to ruin anything, but the weight of this situation is killing me, considering that I'm the only one who knows what happened. What do I do? There's a couple updates to the story, so I'm going to go ahead and read those. I haven't read them yet. I'm really hoping that she tells this guy that her friend cheated on him, because it kind of seems like this girl has absolutely no intention of saying anything to her new fiancé. And I think most people would agree that she should tell Mason. Anyways, I'm going to read the updates now. Okay, so this next update is 5 days later. As soon as I sent my last post, I knew that I had to tell Mason about what was going on. It wasn't to clear my conscience. It was because I knew that if I was in his position, I would want somebody to tell me too. Mason is still one of my good friends too, and he didn't deserve that treatment, regardless of my relationship with Kiana. Kiana texted me while I was on my lunch break and asked me what the weight limit was for a carry-on, and that's when I remembered that she was going away to some conference and wouldn't be back until Saturday. I called Mason and asked him if we could meet each other that night. He said we could meet in a pub between both of our offices after work that day. When I got off work, I walked over to the pub and my stomach was in knots and my heart would not stop beating because I was so nervous to break the news. I walked in and Mason was already waiting for me. He gave me a big hug and looked so happy, which made me feel even worse. Mason asked me about my day, I asked him about his, etc. He then asked if Kiana had mentioned anything about the ring, if she liked it, if she was happy. He must have seen the look on my face because he asked me what was wrong. I started by saying that what I was about to tell him will either change his relationship with Kiana, his friendship with me, or Kiana's friendship with me, or all the above. Mason looked confused, so I went on and told him about what happened on Saturday. I didn't call Kiana any names. I didn't focus too much on her side or my side of the story. I just tried to give an objective narrative of what happened that night. Right up until she called me about the engagement, and I asked her if she was going to tell him, and she said no. Mason went pale for a moment, and I asked him if he needed a minute. Mason told me that Kiana said that she had gotten really drunk and slept at my place Saturday night, which is why she didn't come home to him. He asked me to see my texts with her, so I showed him the text thread and all the placed calls that I made to see if she was okay. I told him that if I were in his position, I would want to know because I care for him and I don't want him to find out later on. He looked at me with almost no expression on his face and said, "Well, I guess I should get tested then." I felt so bad for him and asked if he needed anything. He told me that he believed me and he would talk to Kiana when she got home. Mason said that our friendship won't change and that he's grateful that I told him before he ended up marrying her. But he feels like shit that she accepted the proposal and is flaunting the engagement to the world, yet slept with someone else 4 days prior. He said he wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't the first time that something like this happened. I told him that I had no idea anything else had gone on, but if he needed anything else to let me know. He said that he'll talk to Kiana when she gets back on Saturday. That's when he started to get a little teary-eyed and said that he had to go. He gave me a hug and said goodbye. I didn't hear from either of them until Saturday night around 11 p.m., when I got a call from Kiana asking me if she could come to my place. She showed up 15 minutes later and was a crying mess. She said that Mason broke off the engagement because he had logged onto her Facebook and found messages that she had sent to some guys over the last year. Mason told her how I had let him know about last Saturday night, and she said that she was too afraid to tell him because it was a mistake. Kiana then asked why I had told him, and I said if it had happened to her, I would do the same thing. And if it were me in Mason's position, I would want to know too. Her face started turning red, and then she dropped a bomb on me. In my last post, I said that I knew how Mason felt because I was cheated on before. My last boyfriend, Dominic, and I were together for 3 years before he came back to my place one drunken night out with a bunch of hickeys on his neck. I knew they weren't from me, and I immediately broke it off with him. He said he didn't remember who they were from, which I knew was bullshit. Kiana said that she was the one who Dominic cheated on me with. Which means that not only did Dominic cheat on me with my best friend, but she also cheated on Mason with him too. I couldn't even look at her. I asked her to leave and not to contact me again. I've been questioning our, quote, friendship ever since. I got some texts and missed calls from her, asking me to hear her out, calling me a bitch, and then going back to kissing my ass. I blocked her number and all her profiles on social media accounts. Mutual friends of ours asked what happened, and they say they're not surprised by her behavior. I heard from Mason on Monday night. He texted me saying that it was over between them, and I asked if he was okay. Mason told me that he will be eventually and asked me to meet him for coffee tonight when I'm done with work. So that's about it. It turns out I was blind to Kiana's character the whole time. I'm incredibly hurt that my so-called best friend has never really been a best friend to me at all. I can't be left wondering what else happened, but I just gotta move on and spend time with my friends and those who have proven to me that they love me. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of actual stories just like this one, where people know one of their friends is cheating and don't know if they should say anything or not. And I think in almost every situation, especially this one, the person deserves to know what's happening and the truth. And for this story in particular, if I'm in this poster's position and I see my best friend making out with some person in the club that isn't their significant other, who's also my friend that I set them up with, and then they want me to lie to them and just act like it never happened, I just don't feel like I could trust that person ever again. I think that this story wrapped up nicely where everybody found out how shitty of a person Kiana was. Like, to blatantly cheat and then a couple days later get proposed to and accept the ring. Oh man. Oh, that's brutal. I hate that. I hate that. I'm moving on. We're reading another story. Am I the asshole for changing my name without checking with my friend? I have a problem with one of my friends, and I'd appreciate some feedback on whether or not I'm in the wrong. Before my daughter was born, my wife and I decided to change our last name. I don't have a good relationship with my dad, and I felt compelled to not give my daughter his name. We thought about it and settled on a last name that we both resonated with. It was my wife's grandfather's last name, and also similar to my mom's last name. We went forward with the name change. A while later, we met up with this friend and his girlfriend and told them that we changed our name. It turns out that my friend's girlfriend has the exact same last name as the one that we chose. We didn't know this until that night. We laughed it off like, wow, what a funny coincidence, and moved on. So time goes by and my friend has been distant. He's not answering when I invite him to hang out. I didn't push him too hard because I assumed that he was busy or dealing with his own issues. 2 years go by. Then, 2 weeks ago, he abruptly informed me that his girlfriend feels very uncomfortable with the fact that we changed our last name to be the same as hers. They accused us of knowing beforehand about her last name since it's in her Instagram bio, and told us that we should have addressed it with them before proceeding with the name change. My friend tells me that in order to move forward, we need to meet with them so that his girlfriend can read a letter detailing her feelings. I didn't want to go, but ended up meeting up with them because I respected my friend and wanted to find a resolution. During the meeting, his girlfriend insults me several times and tells me that I'm weird or either the most unaware or inconsiderate person she has ever met. I told her that it was purely a coincidence, but they could not accept this. She responds that everyone she's consulted with agrees that we are weird and creepy for changing our name. I kept my emotions in check during the meeting, but last night I texted my friend basically saying, "What the fuck?" He tells me that he just can't believe that we didn't know and that we're shitty friends for not clearing it with them. I tell him that he's acting like a main character and what I do with my last name does not affect their lives. He called me on the phone and was extremely emotional. I tried to explain myself again, but the call devolved into him and his girlfriend screaming at me, insulting me, and threatening me. I feel so confused about why they're so fixated on this, and I feel heartbroken that my friendship is now over. What do you guys think? Am I in the wrong over this? Quick edit here. A lot of people are asking how common the name is. Online estimates say there's around 80,000 people with this name in the US. This just so does not matter. These people are making such a big deal out of absolutely nothing at all. I get that it would maybe feel a little bit strange if your friends changed their name to your same last name. I get that that is strange, but it's not offensive like these people seem to think it is. And this poster has a valid reason to change their name. And also, they're keeping it in the family. They're changing the last name to another last name that is within their own family. This really doesn't seem like an issue that you need to stew on for 2 years and then read a letter to them that just insults them. Also, I just want to point out, it seems like they're not even that great of friends in the first place. Not knowing your friend's girlfriend's last name is a little weird depending on how close you are. They didn't talk for 2 years, and this poster seems kind of unbothered by that. I don't know, this just seems like it would have been a bigger deal sooner if they were better friends. I guess my point is that they should just cut their losses. It didn't seem like that big of a deal to this poster that his friends stopped talking to him for 2 years, so I guess why start talking to him now? I'm trying to put myself in the position where if one of my friends called me up and told me that they were changing their name to match mine, I guess I would think it was weird, but I don't think I'd be genuinely upset about it. Honestly, I think I would just kind of find it funny more than anything else. It seems like these people wanted to end their friendship with this poster over this conflict, and that just seems like a ridiculous overreaction to me. Am I the asshole for refusing to drive a longer route to drop a girl off because she didn't want to be alone in the car with me? I feel like it's relevant to mention that I'm a male. This situation involves me and 3 other people. Let's call them Joe, Sandra, and Amy. I'm good friends with Joe. We've been friends since we were kids. I know Sandra through Joe, and the 3 of us hang out regularly. Last week, Sandra invited her friend Amy to hang out with us. Amy and Sandra are good friends, and Amy's met Joe before, but this was my first time meeting her. We just saw a movie and then went bowling. When everything was done, Sandra asked me if I was okay with driving Amy home. I said, yeah, that's no problem. I'm the only one who drives in the group, so I usually drop everybody off after we see each other. I live in the middle of nowhere, like an hour north of all of them, but they all live pretty close together. From where we were and where everyone's house is, it made sense to drop off Joe first, then Sandra, and then Amy. We didn't discuss the logistics or the route in advance, so I dropped Joe off first and then was heading over to Sandra's house. I could tell Amy and Sandra were texting each other and they were kind of whispering. I had a feeling that they were talking about me, but I didn't know for sure until Sandra just pointed out that I made a wrong turn and Amy's house was the other way. I explained that it made way more sense to drop Sandra off first and then Amy. It was only at this point that Amy mentioned that she didn't want to be alone in the car with me. Her only reason was because I'm a man, and she alluded that being alone in the car with a man that she doesn't really know is unsafe. So what she was asking me to do was to drop her off next, and then drive 10 minutes back in the opposite direction of my house to drop Sandra off. Then another 10 minutes back the exact same way I just came from, passing Amy's house again in order to get home. My drive home was already an hour from town, so I said no. I didn't want to add an extra 20 minutes to my already 60-minute drive. They were both really pressuring me and trying to guilt me into just doing it, but I kept saying no. It was such an awkward car ride because they just did not give up. Amy just got out of the car at Sandra's house. She kind of slammed the door all aggressively, which pissed me off a little. I just drove straight home afterwards. Joe called me the next day after he had heard what happened. He felt like I should have just done it, but I feel like their ask was unreasonable. I'm not going to go out of my way to do a favor for someone who just thinks I'm some kind of messed up abuser or something. Anyways, I'm just looking for some opinions on whether or not I'm the asshole here. I get this girl feeling uncomfortable riding in a car with a guy that she doesn't know. That's normal, I totally get it. And it's okay to ask if she can be dropped off first, but it's his car, it's his gas money. This poster is not obligated to go out of his way on a new route when he's already doing them a favor by giving them a ride. I don't know, if she was really going to be that uncomfortable riding with him, then she should have asked to be dropped off first before they started driving. Like I said, I don't really feel like it's a problem to ask to get dropped off first, but once this poster said that it was inconvenient to go to Amy's house first, I feel like it was kind of rude for them to keep insisting on their part. I do think that this guy could have been a little more tactful in the way that he was saying no. Somebody actually left a comment that I thought explained this kind of well. This commenter wrote, "What you should have said was, 'Oh, I totally understand. I'll drop you both off at Sandra's and you can get an Uber from there.'" It's hard to think of that in the moment, of course, but if you had said that cheerfully enough, it would have been hard for them to push back. And if they did push back, you could say, "Oh, wait, you want me to add another 20 minutes to my drive that's already going to be more than an hour? So you can avoid having to take a quick Uber?" And after all this, if Amy did have to take an Uber from Sandra's house, she had to get into a car with a stranger anyways. I'd much rather be driven home by someone that I just spent the night hanging out with, rather than an Uber driver that's a complete stranger and could murder me. No, you know what? The more that I'm thinking about this, the more that I'm realizing that I would absolutely be offended if I was giving a ride home to somebody that I just met, going out of my way, doing them a favor, and they're in the backseat whispering with their friend about how they're uncomfortable with me. I definitely don't blame this guy for reacting the way that he did. Or this poster was just giving off super creepy vibes, which I guess is possible too. I don't know, maybe I'm just being insensitive because I'm a guy and I don't have to think about my own safety in this way. But to me, it really doesn't seem like this poster was being unreasonable or an asshole. Although, knowing myself, if I were in this situation, I for sure would have just caved and driven Amy home first. Which is whatever, I'm just being honest with myself. Props to this guy for standing his ground and not being a pushover like me. He wants to call off my divorce because my cancer treatment was successful. When I was diagnosed with testicular cancer, he filed for divorce because he said it would be, quote, too much to take care of me. In my province, you have to live separately and apart for 1 year before a divorce is granted. Since he left, I've had surgery and chemotherapy, and my latest checkup shows that I have no evidence of disease. I don't know how he found out, but when he did, he applied to have the court withdraw our divorce application. He told me we can stay married now since I'm no longer sick, and was actually shocked when I blocked the divorce withdrawal petition through my own lawyer. I don't want to be married to him after what he did. That post was made in August of 2022. This guy recently came back and made an update to this post 3.5 years later, so I'm going to go ahead and read that super quick here. Update. My divorce was made official yesterday. It's over. 4.5 years of hell and being in limbo, and now it's over. Last night was probably the best sleep that I've had in years. Maybe only second to the day that I was told that there was no evidence of disease. I feel like shouting from the rooftops because I'm finally free. 7 days later, my now ex-husband told me that he was leaving me because it would be too much to take care of me, and he didn't sign up to be a nurse. When I had my first appointment with the oncologist, a few days after my diagnosis, I was given a warning about men leaving their spouses when there's an illness. But I never thought it would happen to me. But every person in my support group who was married to a man had it happen to them too. It was truly eye-opening. I spent almost a year going through treatment. I had surgery, I had chemotherapy, and it almost killed me, but in August of 2022, I was told that there was no evidence of disease. After he found out that I was getting better but still moving forward with the divorce, he did everything he could to drag it out. I'm so glad that the court finally saw through his games, and now the divorce was made official. 4 years and 6 months after he initially left. That's so long. That's crazy that it took that long. I haven't seen or spoken to him in years, and I don't ever plan to again. Still no evidence of disease. I got a great new job with the provincial government, and I'm planning a vacation for my 40th birthday. Most importantly, I'm free. That genuinely sucks so hard, and I hate this guy's husband. Who says I didn't sign up to be a nurse when their spouse gets sick? Literally, yes you did. Yes you did when you said in sickness and in health in your vows. That's crazy. I don't think I have that much more to say about this one. I just saw this post. I saw this guy come back and dunk on his ex-husband 3.5 years later, and I was like, hell yeah, I gotta read this. All right, honestly, I could keep building all day. I'm having a great time, but I think it's about as close to done as it's going to get for now. Let's do a walkthrough and check out what we got really quick. I don't know what it was today, though. I was just having a really, really good time building. I really like the way that this room turned out. It's a really good entryway to the wheat farm that I'm still obsessed with. There's definitely a lot of stuff in here that still needs work, like the ceiling, which I just spammed a bunch of leaves and roots. which, as you know, is my go-to strategy for how to make something look good when you don't know what to do. But I've also been working on adding little more fun details to builds, like these totems or this little channel of water that goes over to this well thing, I guess. I don't really know what this is, but that has like these pulleys. I don't know, it looks like it does something. I'm just trying to add more whimsy into my builds. We're out here getting whimsical. But oh man, just look at the pillars. Look at the transition between these blocks. It's perfect. They don't really look structurally sound, but boy do I like looking at them. But thanks so much for watching. That's all the Minecraft and Reddit stories I've got for you today. I'm recording this outro after the fact. I've already edited the video and I can see that it is under an hour, and the temptation to just sit here and talk for a couple minutes so that I can hit that hour mark, ooh, it's really tempting. But it's genuinely so bad for the video when I do these stupid long outros. But what would help the video is you clicking that subscribe button.